the most important number one reason why Seattle will have success is when he's playing well. He feels like his voice has not been heard. In the offensive coordinator say, when Brian Schottenhemier was fired, in the offensive line and personnel decisions, because it hasn't gotten any better really since he's been in Seattle. I mean, 9 years, we just said it. He's had 394 sacks. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Top 5 in the league every year except one in that category. So he's not just saying that to be selfish. He's saying that because, hey, the offensive line has stunk. Let's call for what it is here. If we're trying to win a championship, we got to shore up some of these holes. And I'm sure he said it multiple times because, as we know, Russell Wilson, he's not one to put out a lot of stuff in the media. He's not one to cause some drama. He must have been sick and tired of the way Pete Carroll is handling this team and ignoring his input. Now, I think Russell Wilson is right to be frustrated, and he should have a say. Russell Wilson should have a say. Aaron Rodgers should have a say. DeShaun Watson should have a say. Because these guys know what's best for the team. These guys are the number one most important reason why teams win. And wouldn't you want to accentuate their play and help get them to a level where they are playing their best football on a weekly basis? How do you do that? Getting a second receiver for Aaron Rodgers. Getting a better offensive line for Russell Wilson. Getting a better culture for the Texans. Hello. Hey, that's another thing, too. I've seen a lot of pushback on social media this week, basically trying to say, hey, Russ, who the hell do you think you are? You're not Tom Brady. You don't deserve this treatment of getting say on the team, of picking players, of picking schemes, of picking plays. I ask you, why not? Because these players, maybe not winning-wise on the same level as Tom Brady, but in terms of importance to winning, are on the same level as Tom Brady. So why shouldn't they get say? Because guess what? They've been right. The Packers do need a second receiver. The Seahawks do need an offensive line. The Texans, we've been crushing the Texans for 2 months now. About what? Their god-awful culture. Who is wrong? Where is Russell Wilson wrong when he says the offensive line has to be better? Where is Aaron Rodgers wrong saying that, hey, it'd be great to have a consistent second weapon behind Devonta Adams? Where is DeShaun Watson wrong when he says, hey, the Texans need a culture change? We need a leader in here as a head coach, as a general manager, that is the total antithesis of what just was here in Bill O'Brien. And instead, Cal McNair, the owner, sides with Jack Easterby, who came with Bill O'Brien, who, according to you read a lot of reports, is the reason for a lot of mistrust in the organization. That's led to a lot of upheaval. And instead, the owner sides with Jack Easterby over DeShaun Watson, and now the Texans are bound to repeat the cycle yet again. They are bound to repeat history that they just tried to rid themselves of by firing Bill O'Brien earlier this year. So we know these players that are now publicly voicing their frustrations are right. Why aren't we listening to them? If you want to say, if you're making excuses, hey, they're not Tom Brady, they don't deserve that. Sure, no one's Tom Brady. But are we really going to pretend that Tom Brady was the only reason why the Buccaneers won the Super Bowl? Or are we going to pretend that at least Tom Brady's the only quarterback, I should say, that knows what he needs to win a Super Bowl? Like, we don't think Russell Wilson knows what he needs. We don't think Aaron Rodgers knows what he needs. These quarterbacks have gained their respect. They've earned the right to make the calls. Offensive coordinator for the Seahawks, personnel-wise on the offense, they've deserved the right to make those decisions. A lot of people have said, no, I don't know why. Because ignoring the franchise quarterback only sets you back. It doesn't help get you forward. Having pride of, hey, I'm the GM, I make these decisions, you don't know what you're talking about. Not only that's how you alienate players in today's game, that's how you make your team worse, not better. We talked about the cliches. That is not everyone pulling in the same direction. So those on the same page, those, hey, you know what? Maybe the quarterback is right. Maybe we do have to shore up this one position. Maybe, you know what? Maybe this offensive coordinator, this philosophy will work for us going forward. Instead of trying to force a square peg in a round hole. Hey, Russ, we're hiring this offensive coordinator because I say so. I'm the head coach. I'm making this decision. You're going to play with this guy, and you're going to like it. I don't care if he's the total opposite philosophy of what you stand for. I don't care if his strengths as a play caller, as an offense, contradict what your strengths are. I'm making this call. I'm the head coach. When has that worked? When has that worked? Let me throw it to you this way. Why have young quarterbacks especially have more success of late in the NFL? Why are we seeing an uptick in offense? Why are we seeing now rookies and young players compete on the big stage and win on the big stage so young in their careers? Oh, yeah, that's right. Because NFL offenses are mirroring college offenses. The Ravens, they drafted Lamar Jackson. What did they try to do? They didn't try to force the system on Lamar Jackson. They catered Lamar Jackson's strengths, and they built the system around those strengths. Running the ball, getting him on the perimeter. They're not saying, hey, Lamar Jackson, you're going to drop back 40 times a game. You're going to throw these NFL throws because we said so, because that's why we want to do it. They said, hey, we see what your strengths are. You are athletic as hell. You are faster than everyone on the field. So what are we going to do? We're going to put you in space. We're going to design an offense that is run first to accentuate your strengths. And what happened? He won the MVP. And the Ravens now, at least, are closer to getting to a Super Bowl than they were before with Joe Flacco. I could go on and on and on. But the success young quarterbacks have had because teams have molded their philosophies, molded their personnel, molded the way they play the game to fit what best accentuates the quarterback that they have, their strengths. Tom Brady and Peyton Manning aren't running run-pass option offenses. They're not rolling out. They're not asked to keep the ball. You're not running the same offense for DeShaun Watson that you would for Tom Brady. So again, please someone explain to me, because I don't understand why there's so much pushback this week on social media. But Russell Wilson got to stay in his lane, got to check himself, because he doesn't have that right. It's common sense. I don't understand why the most important position in all of sports isn't getting the respect of being listened to, of having a voice at the table. I mean, we are paying these guys more than anyone else in the franchise outside of the owner. But for pride, we're saying, hey, the GM makes the decisions, the head coach makes those decisions, you're going to like it. And in the Texans' case, making decisions to spite DeShaun Watson, and you're going to like it? I mean, honestly, what are we doing here? What kind of pissing contest are we trying to have? And when does a pissing contest end up with the Super Bowl? I'll say this. I'll finish up with this. Because again, Tom Brady is the one who kind of started this discussion because he went to Tampa Bay and they listened to him. And guess what? They won a Super Bowl. And now other quarterbacks are like, hey, if you're listening to Tom Brady, how come you can't listen to me? They just won a Super Bowl. If Bruce Arians wanted to turn this into a pissing contest, if he said, all right, Tom Brady, you think you're in charge, I'm the boss, and we're going to do things my way, Antonio Brown is not on this team. Rob Gronkowski is not on this team. They're still throwing deep passes every single play. And honestly, ask yourself this. If Bruce Arians didn't take a step back, if Bruce Arians didn't consult with Tom Brady and call the plays that work best for him and help get the players on his team that he thought could get the best out of its offense, are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Super Bowl champions? My answer is no. They are not. Tom Brady alone, just his presence, didn't get the Buccaneers to the Super Bowl. It was the entire organization, but specifically Jason Light, the general manager, and Bruce Arians, the head coach, working in collaboration together, realizing, hey, us three are a partnership, a team. Tom, who can we get on this team that will make you play better at 43 and throw 40 touchdowns? Bruce, how can we cater this offense to fit Tom Brady's strengths? Sure, he wants to be aggressive, and they're going to push the ball down the field, and they did. But they dialed it back than what it was last year with Jameis Winston throwing the ball deep. Why? Because it worked for Tom Brady. I can't be the only one missing this, right? Like the more I talk about it, the more frustrated I get, because it's just like common sense. The Packers aren't the Packers without Aaron Rodgers. They're not 13-3 without the MVP on their team. Who knows where the hell the Seahawks are if Russell Wilson is on another team? So I'm not saying, hey, bow down to these guys. Listen to every demand they make. Basically have them be the ultimate power guy and we are just the servants there, placating all their needs. Collaboration works best. New ideas work best. That breeds success. So yeah, if Russell Wilson wants a new offensive line, He's not saying so out of selfish reasons. He's saying so out of necessity. If Aaron Rodgers wants another receiver, he's not saying so because he just wants another toy to play with. He's saying so because he realizes, hey, our side of the ball, my play, is going to directly impact our season, where we end up. If they take Davante Adams away, we don't have a consistent number 2 receiver on the team that can step up. And guess what? That was one of the reasons why the Packers lost to the Buccaneers in the NFC title game, despite Tom Brady throwing 3 interceptions. It makes sense. And I don't get why all of a sudden some organizations wouldn't listen. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you disagree, that's no problem at all. I am open. Here I am talking about being open to new ideas. I am open to other suggestions, or not even suggestions. I'm open to other lines of thinking. But I'd love to hear your rationale. How come the Seahawks shouldn't listen to Russell Wilson? How come the Packers shouldn't listen to Aaron Rodgers? How come the Texans shouldn't listen to DeShaun Watson, and so on and so on? This right, I'm not saying, is for every player and every team. These are for the franchise guys. These are for the bedrock players that are on the team for a decade, that will be there for the long haul. In case of DeShaun Watson, who hasn't been there long, but he is your cornerstone franchise player. Not every quarterback deserves to have a say on the team and the roster. But at the same time, collaboration makes everyone better, and everyone has the same page. Let's look at Chicago really quickly. I'm sorry to repeat myself. But look at Chicago. Matt Nagy has a system he wants to run. It doesn't work well for Mitchell Trubisky's strengths. What does Matt Nagy do? Say, too bad. You're going to fit to my system. What happens? Mitch struggles. I'm not saying Mitch Trubisky is good, but he does not play well in that system. Okay, fine. You stink. We're going to bring Nick Foles in. Same thing. Nick Foles, you're going to play to my system as Matt Nagy. I'm calling the same plays that I called for Mitch Trubisky. Forget the fact that the offensive line stinks. Forget the fact that you're not as mobile as Mitch. You are running the same plays. We were running the same offense that we have for Mitch Trubisky, and you're going to run it and run it well. What happened? The offense got worse under Nick Foles. Worse. Matt Nagy didn't change his line of thinking, his scheme to fit the players, to fit the personnel, to fit the strengths of his own quarterback, and the Bears stunk. They stunk. And guess what? Bears fans, I know most of you already know this because not a lot of people were happy that Matt Nagy, the head coach, and Ryan Pace, the GM, are back next year. The same thing's going to happen again next year. All you did was delay the inevitable. Matt Nagy showed he cannot change his system to fit the players on his team. Going to keep spinning your wheels. And guess what, Bears fans? Your roster is talented enough to be legitimate competitors in the NFC, especially a wide open NFC where Drew Brees most likely will retire. Russell Wilson, as you see, the Seahawks have their own issues. The biggest competition right now is the Rams and a 44-year-old Tom Brady. The NFC is open, and you have a good defense. You have some okay players in offense, but you don't accentuate your strengths of the team. Matt Nagy continue to just be hard-headed, do it his way, and guess what? His way is going to get him fired next year. It's going to get the Bears into a tailspin. And it's going to be the same thing as 2020 as 2019. Enjoy it, Bears fans. It's going to be another hell of a year. Collaboration. I don't understand it.